Chapter 9 The Portal. Back in Senorita, the cyber park next to the energy station had been deleted to a quarter of its original size. The field looked like a small island amid a sea of black nothingness. With their land almost gone, the Senoritans crowded together on the remaining piece. Biggie knew that if they didn't do something soon, all would be lost. Is the portal finished? He asked two technicians working on a nearby circuitry board. It's a go, one of the technicians switched on the circuitry board. Suddenly, a reddish-orange rectangle began to shimmer and glow in the air in front of them. "The port of Siberia is ready," Biggie called out. "We need to go in an orderly—" "Help!" the mayor screamed. He ran through the portal before anyone could even take a breath. So much for Borg women and Borg children first. The mayor had started such a mad rush for the porter. Senoritans of polite and happy people were now pushing and shoving and fighting, trying to get through the portal as soon as possible. Biggie sat off to the side, watching a mass mess of migration. He would wait, but not for his turn. He would not leave, not without his son. Chapter 10 Mount Doom. "I can't believe we're going to Mount Doom. I can't believe we're going to Mount Doom," Digit said over and over. Izzy piloted the cruiser through dark, ominous clouds which boomed together, bursting with lightning bolts. Eventually, the dark clouds cleared, revealing Mount Doom, home of Zorgon the evil wizard. Mount Doom was a black volcano covered all over with large black spikes. Glowing cyberdust continually shot out of the volcano top, bursting into sparks as it hit the ground. Izzy carefully landed his Cybercruiser 6 on a rocky cliff. The kids and Digit got out as the Cyberbird whipped around them, blowing the cyberdust in all directions at once. The kids shielded their eyes, but it didn't help. "Ow, this cyberdust stings," Inez yelled. "Being stunned is the least of our problems," Matt pointed. Look, they stood before a giant cave door, carved right into the side of the volcano. "That's Zorgon's cave. No one has ever gone in there and come back out." Digit's knees knocked together. He was so scared. "You can all go first," but no one moved. The idea that they had to actually go inside Zorgon's evil laboratory made them all feel somewhat sick. Besides hackers, Zorgon was one of the most feared beings in all of cyberspace. Once, in a fit of anger, Zorgon uses black cyber magic to turn all the inhabitants of Solaria into pigs. Another time, Zorgon used one of his potions to hold all of the water from Shangri-La Hostage in a small test tube until he was paid off in cyber gold. This was one dangerous wizard. "Well, the second recharger chair's not coming out here to find us," Jackie said as she led them into the cave. Digit gulped and followed the kids inside. The dark cave smelled musty. There were sounds of water drips echoing throughout. A light flickered up ahead. The kids crept toward the light and came upon a carvingous room filled with vats of potions, shelves and shelves of jarred ingredients like cyber bat wings and cyber lemur lips, and dozens of bubbling cauldrons. And standing over one of the bubbling cauldrons, stirring it with a silver wand, stood a tall cyberberg with a long white beard that fell down to his shoes. He had intense black eyes and a thin, scary face. He wore a tall black wizard's hat. "That's Zorgon," Digit whispered. "Is anyone else as scared as me?" Izzy whispered back. Jackie, Inez, and Matt all nodded. Digit was too scared to move a muscle. Zorgon sniffed the bubbling green potion. Needs some more cybergator tail," he mumbled to himself, then walked across the room to a wall filled with drawers. When Zorgon moved, the kids saw that he had been standing in front of the second purple and green recharger chair. "The chair, now's our chance," Matt whispered, and led the group crawling on the floor behind vats of portions toward it. "Cybergator, cybergator," Zorgon continued to mutter, opening one drawer after another. Quietly and carefully, the kids inched across the floor and right up to the green and purple recharger chair. Izzy slid his hand under the purple cushion. "Is it there?" Nez asked. "No, I can't believe this." Izzy stamped his foot in anger, causing cyberdust from the floor to blow up around them. "Izzy," Inez said, trying to whisk away the cloud of dust that floated in the air around them. Digit held his eyes shut. "Man, this cyberdust. Anyone got a towel?" "My eyes are stinging," Digit said as he reached out with his eyes closed, searching for something to wipe them with. He felt what he had thought was a towel in front of him and wiped his eyes. "Ah!" The cyberdust settled. Didge, Matt said with urgency. Just hold a sec, Matty. Digit wiped his eyes one more time. Jackie was alarmed. But Didge... Wait, my eyes are almost better, Digit interrupted. Digit finished wiping his eyes and looked back to the kids. There. Now it's so important. Matt and as Jackie and Izzy just pointed. Digit looked down to see that in his hands was not a towel, but rather long gray hairs. He looked up to see Zorgan towering over him. Digit was using Zorgan's beard to wipe his eyes. Digit gently let go of the beard. Zorgy, baby, long time no see, Digit murmured. Intruders, intruders in my cave, yar! Zorgan cried out. Go, Inez screamed. They ran for the door. Hurry, Matt yelled. But before they got even halfway to the door, Zorgan pointed his wand at the kids. Stop us, nowis, he commanded. Zap, magic energy flew out of the wand, wrapping around Digit and the kids' legs, stopping them in their tracks. Hey, we can't move, the kids struggled to free themselves from the magic ropes, but it was useless. They were trapped. Zorgan dipped a dropper into a vat of blue potion. I just made up this new potion. Let's see if it works, shall we? Zorgan dripped one drop on each of the kids and Digit. No, the kids yelled as magic energy flickered around them. Then they all shrunk to the size of mice. Zorgan bent down and looked at them. It works, ha ha ha. Look how small we are. Matt stood next to a cyber penny on the ground. It looked as big as a frisbee to him. We can never save Senorita like this, Izzy cried. And now, time for you to meet Zerd. Zerd, Zorgan called. Who's Zerd? Inez fearfully asked. Zerd? Ah, that's just a cyber cat. Nothing to worry about, Digit laughed. Just then they heard a loud meow. Zerd landed with a thud on the ground next to them. Zerd was an orange cyber cat with glowing green eyes, and she looked as big as a dinosaur to them. She licked her lips, crouched low to the ground, and lifted up her right paw, ready to pounce. Great, it's just a cat, Inez said, backing up. First troll food, now cat food? I don't think so, Jackie yelled. The kids and Digits scattered, running across the floor under the vats of potions. Meow, Zerd followed, gaining ground on them. Let's split up, Inez called out as she, Matt, and Izzy veered off to the right. This way, Jackie led Matt toward a table, but they came to a piece of wood on the floor. It looked like a giant wall to them. Meow, Zerd the cyber cat pounced. They were cornered. Digit closed his eyes. I can't look. Plop, 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 plop. Drops of yellow potion dripped from the vat above, catching Jackie's attention. She watched as a small feather floated in the air right underneath the drips and got hit by a drop of potion. Grutch. Suddenly the feather turned to stone and crashed to the ground. What a potion! This gave Jackie an idea. She surprised the cat by running right by it. Zerd, come on, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. Zerd turned around and made a beeline for Jackie. In the drips, Jackie dove out of the way as a drop of potion landed on Zerd's back. Grrch! Zerd the cyber cat immediately turned to stone. You can open your eyes. We're safe, Jackie said to Digit. Digit opened his eyes to see a stone statue of Zerd towering above him. What happened to her? She's seen better days. Just then, Matt, Inez, and Izzy ran up. Way to go, Jax. Great move using that potion. Matt gave her a high five. But now what do we do? There's no way we can find the power orb like this, Izzy cried. Look at us. Digit agreed. We're not gonna do any cyberspace saving if we're mini-sized. Inez thought for a second and she looked up at all the other vats of potions around them. One of those potions turned us little. There's got to be one to turn us big. What potion do we try? Jackie looked up at the rows of potions. How about this one? Digit pointed up to a vat of red liquid above him. As a small drop fell from its faucet, Digit held out a cyber penny in its path. Plop! The drop hit the cyber penny. Then the penny burst into flames and disappeared into nothing. Maybe not this one, Digit made sure his wing was all there. Jackie stood under another vat of potion. This one green, she held out a balled up piece of paper in her arms. Let's see what this green potion does. A drip from the vat above fell down onto the paper ball. Bing, bing, bing. It suddenly began sprouting brown hair all over. Ew, Jackie said. She dropped it on the ground. Now it's a hairball. We don't want this potion either. Over here, Izzy yelled. Hurry. The kids and Digit ran over to Izzy, who stood next to a giant glowing rock, which was the size they had been at their real height. What is this? Inez asked. One piece of cyberdust. Watch. Izzy held up another piece of cyberdust under an old, worn vat. The drip fell from its faucet onto it, and then stretched. The cyberdust grew to the same huge size as the other one. This potion can make us big again, Izzy said, with just one drop. But first, hide, Matt interrupted. The kids and Digit dove behind the table leg as Zorgon walked by. Zorgon stopped at the sight of the two giant pieces of cyberdust. How many times have I told that incompetent assistant Sigurd to turn off the potion drips? He's wasting my potions. Zorgon fiddled with a small control panel. Which button? Which lever? Ah, yes. This button, this lever, off. No more drips. Zorgon stomped off to check the rest of his vats and potions. Jackie looked up at the vat. It wasn't dripping anymore. Tell me he did not just do that. This is so typical. No more drips. Now what do we do? Now what do we do? Izzy looked up at the vat on the table above him. It was as if he were looking at a skyscraper. How are we going to get up there to turn it back on? Hey, little help, Matt called from under the table. Digit helped him drag out a spoon, which was as big as a tree to them. Ever catapult peas at dinner? Matt asked. Matt and Digit dragged the spoon in front of the table. They positioned it so the spoon part was closer to the table, the handle further away. Okay, here's how we're going to get up there. Matt went through his plan. Inez, Digit, and Izzy, since you're the highest, you'll sit on the handle, one at a time. Jax and I will climb up there. Matt motioned to a nail sticking out of the table leg. Jump down and land on the spoon part. With any luck, you guys will fly right onto the table. Digit sat down on the handle of the spoon. Let's do it. He looked to his hurt rotor. Sure could use you now. Then he yelled up to Matt. You sure this gonna work, Matty? Trust me. Matt and Jackie stood halfway up the table leg on the nail. We're all lined up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And with that, Jackie and Matt jumped off the nail, landing right on the end of the spoon. Whack! Their weight smacked down, catapulting Digit off and up into the air. Ah! Digit soared straight up to the top of the table and landed smack on it. He peeked over the edge and gave a big thumbs up. Touchdown! Matt gave Jackie a high five. Inez went next, then Izzy. Both catapulted right up onto the table with Digit. So how will we get big again? Izzy asked. Zorgon said, a button and a lever to turn off the faucet. But look, there are 2 buttons and 3 levers. So which button and which lever do we choose? Digit asked. We'll just have to try them all. Izzy stomped on the red button and then ran over and pulled the black lever. Nothing happened. Inez jumped on the blue button, pulled the green lever. Again, nothing happened. Hey, give me a try, Digit said as he stomped on the red button and pulled back the black lever. Nope. Didn't we already try that combination? Izzy asked. I'll remember, Nez said. We've got to keep track of what we try. Squack pad, please. Digit pulled a squack pad from his hatch. Let's start over, Nez said. She drew a grid on the pad. Look, Dig, each square is a combination, and altogether we have 6 combinations to try. Same as the number of buttons multiplied by the number of letters. 2 times 3, 6, Izzy pointed out. Cool, Digit said. Now let's check things off as we try them. Let's try the first combination. Red button, black lever, Nez called out. Izzy stamped on the red button. Digit pushed the black lever. Nothing happened. That's not the right combination. I'll mark it. Inez put an X in the square. Next combination is blue button, black lever. Izzy stamped on the red button, Digit pushed the black lever, and again nothing happened. Another no, Inez put an X in that square. Next combination is red button, green lever. Izzy stamped on the red button, Digit pushed the green lever. Blip, the faucet turned on, and drips began falling. We did it! Hey, we did it! 3 yelled. The drips are dropping. Look out below, Digit called down. And down below, Matt and Jackie heard the drips begin. They did it! They did it! Time to grow up, Matt, Jackie smiled. Chat stood directly under the faucet. Blip, a drip of potion dropped right on him. Stretch! He immediately grew to his normal size. Woo! Matt was relieved to be big again. Jackie went next. Blip, stretch! She, too, grew back to her normal size. Hey, guys, how about a hand, Matt? Held out his hand to the tiny Inez, Izzy, and Digit, who were still on the tabletop. Izzy, Inez, and Digit jumped into Matt's hand. Matt carefully placed him on the ground under the drip. Blip, stretch, blip, stretch, blip, stretch. Inez, Izzy, and Digit all grew back to their original heights. It's good to be big again, Jackie declared. Not for long. Zorgan snapped as he walked toward them, his wicked black eyes bulging. It looked as if he would explode at any moment. His pale face turned bright red, and he shook with anger. Reddish energy was building around him as he chanted, Ploribus Urbis Snogrid ported. Zorgan's blown of a gasket, Matt yelled. Digit closed his eyes. Tell me when it's all over. Just as Zorgan pointed his wand at the kids about to zap them, Izzy jumped on a table and pushed a vat of potion over, which hit another vat. That vat hit the next one in line, and soon the row of vats was tumbling over like a row of dominoes. The final vat stood right next to Zorgan, and before he could do anything to stop it, it fell on him, pink potion splashing all over the place. A dripping wet Zorgan wiped the pink potion from his face. He looked at the kids and then smiled sweetly. Hi, boys and girls, how are you? Can I get you something to eat, or perhaps a beverage? The kids were flabbergasted. What's going on? Matt asked. That pink potion must have made him nice. Way to go, Izzy. You saved us. Inez hugged Izzy. I did, didn't I? Izzy couldn't believe it. Zorgan was now dancing around the cave. I feel so happy. Anyone up for a happy dance? Zorgan directed his wand at the closet. Music, he said it, as magic energy flew from his wand right at the closet door. Psst. A guitar, drum, and trumpet hovered out of the closet, playing music on their own. Zorgan danced around with the instruments. Digit watched in shock. You have got to be kidding me. Look at him. We have to go. There's still one more recharger chair to check. Izzy began to run out of the cave. We love to stay and dance, but we have Senorita to save, Jackie said to Zorgan, then to follow the others out of the cave. Okay, good luck, Zorgan called out. Matt pulled out the list as they ran toward their cruiser. We only have one more chair to check, and guess who bought it? Invenka the Invincible. Her chair must be the one with the power orb in it. And Vinka the Invincible, she's a cyber ghost, and the most feared cyber pirate of all time. Oh, brother, Digit was already frightened. The kids and Digit ran into the Cyber Cruiser 6. Izzy powered up and flew off, feeling a little like a hero. He had saved them back there, and maybe, just maybe, he could save Senorita. The Grim Reaper hovered behind Mount Doom. Hacker sat inside his control panel, with headphones over his ears. Zorgan didn't have it. The last recharge chair was sold to Invenkia the Invincible. That's where the power orb is. A ghost. Ah! Buzz and Delete hugged each other, then ran out of the room in total fear. You cyber cowards, Hacker yelled at them. Hacker thought about following the kids to Invenkia, but had second thoughts. He would never admit it to anyone, but truth, he told, Invenkia was the only being in cyberspace that scared him too. He drove his ship off, heading away from Invenkia. He already had another idea for how to get the power orb without going anywhere near the ghost.